Hi, this is again Volleyball Explained and our podcast First Tempo. Today, I'm very happy to welcome in the podcast Luca Chiappini, main coach in Levski Sofia when it comes to the women's part of the academy. Luca, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to be a guest in the podcast.
I'm always available when we speak about volleyball.
First of all, you're in Sofia since last year. How did you come into contact with Levski, and how did you decide actually to come to Sofia to work in Levski?
Well, the first contact was in 2022 because Vlado Nikolov called me and he wanted someone who has a background in high-level volleyball and junior volleyball as well. So we got in touch, and honestly, can I say we liked each other from this first meeting we had. But then, because of external problems, we couldn't agree to let me come like 2022. But then the season later, he called me again, like it was, I don't remember, like April, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come to watch our situation, how we work, or because we would like to improve our volleyball, and we would like to have you, if you agree, like in the part of it." Then I came in Sofia. It was, I don't remember, maybe May for 2 or 3 days, and honestly, I felt much better situation than many of A teams in Italy. So when we sat down with Vlado and his partners and we discussed about the details and how to, like, what they wanted from me and what I asked from the club, it was easy to me to say, yes, of course, I'm interested.
Your compatriot Andrea Burattini has been working in the club since I think 2018. Do you know
Yes.
him from before? And what did he say to you if you asked for advice on whether to come in Sofia?
Well, I knew Andrea because Andrea, in my opinion, is the best coach for junior sector in Italy. He's been performing and developing, I would say, because he was the one who developed Trentino Volley junior sector. We have to be honest on that. And he did. I mean, nowadays we can see what he has been doing like one while ago. Because Giannelli, because of all the other guys that now they are superstar, they were shy kids at that time. So I knew Andrea and I know the way he works, and I know I can trust his word because he's a man of honor. And he told me great things about Levski, actually. And he said, "Why don't you come and try?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm interested." And then I honestly needed something different than A series, especially Italian A series, because the 2 seasons before were very, I would say, tough for me. Like, I would say stressful. Not Filottrano, Soverato and Vicenza experiences were quite tough. And then I understood that I needed something different, and teaching the kids and the girls the basics of volleyball makes me honestly feel better now.
Yeah, by the way, Andrea was a guest in the podcast in episode 26, I think, and that's more than 70 episodes ago. So if someone has missed this episode, of course you can check. And my next question is because Levski has new facilities since 2021, I think, was opened the new hall. What were your first impressions from the facilities where you are going to be working?
Well, as I told you, I've been working in many A Serie Italian teams, but honestly, few times I saw something like this. maybe a couple of times. I remember when I was beginner, let's call it that way, in Novara, it was similar, but not similar. It was like 2003, 2004, I don't remember now. Then I have many friends in Conegliano, so sometimes I go to visit them, and Conegliano is Conegliano. So, but the facilities and the way is not only facilities, but because facilities itself is nothing. It's the philosophy behind the club that I like very much.
And what was the first change you made at the academy working with the girls, or probably the first rule you enforced, or something like it?
Meaning the rule of the girls.
I mean the rules of managing the process, something like this. Something.
Well, I actually observed first. I wanted to understand how the coaches are connected with the girls. That was the main for me, to understand what kind of communication I had to establish with the girls and with the coaches. And then the method of teaching volleyball. And then when I understood those two ways of doing the things here in Bulgaria, then I tried to make it match with my method. And honestly, I think it's working so far, at least. Not only for the results, but for the feeling that there is between club and staff and teams, which are the three parts of the volleyball in Levski.
And you said that you started observing the process, and now, approximately 1 year later, what are your observations on how the level of the girls is developing, and where is now Levski in its development in terms of the development of the girls as volleyball players? Because this season you won bronze in the women's league, silver in the 20-year-old, I think, and gold in the 18-year-old.
Yes, we were bronze with Starcha and gold with Kadetki, and this afternoon silver with pre-Kadetki.
With
yes,
16,
yes. Well, I can say that there are many talented girls, especially in physical way. They are very talented. Coordination is high level once compared to the same age of Italian ones, if I have to think about. And after my first period of observation, I thought that we had to focus on two or three priorities maximum in order to fix some point for the first year, in order to move forward for the next years to more higher points, I will say. And that's what we are doing actually. This very season I fixed it, for example, with Cadetti, just to go back to the concrete, to the court. Cadet we fixed a lot of serve and reception, a lot. I would say every day. And then of course some kind of attack system which match with the abilities of the girls.
And what about the 20-year-old, the star?
Well, actually, the 20-year-old were previously managed by Shopov, and I got them the last month, so I actually couldn't do too much. Just a couple of things about attack system and fixing couple of situations with the setters, but not much, I would say. But still, I mean, those girls are talented, and they are dedicated to work and to work hard. I mean, that's helpful for a coach. That's the best part.
Actually, you have now one, I think, established player in the women's national team, Michaela Stoyanova, the opposite
Yes.
player, and also Ivanina Malinova was in week one, also with the team, I think, in Antalya.
Yes.
Yeah, and because I mentioned the national team, and in this regard. Probably because now Maritza has the most players in the national team in when it comes to Bulgarian league, and what kind of work and when will Levski be able to prevail over Maritza? In this, just to add here that Maritza also improved their staff in terms of the youth academy, because Mr. Bosetti is now there, so I'm sure you're very familiar with him too.
Yeah. Maritza made a good move by taking Beppe, because he's one of the most famous and best coach for the junior sector, I would say, in the world, because he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of skills. I mean, we all know him. He's a mentor for many of my colleagues. So they made a good move. Let's see. It's going to be interesting, but for sure it's going to be good for the Bulgarian volleyball. That is for sure. That is for sure, because if the qualities and the numbers, not only the qualities of the coaches, rise, okay, so you can communicate more between coaches. I don't know. I still don't know in Bulgaria, because I'm still, my Bulgarian is not yet. It's just surviving, not quite fluent yet. But in Italy, we have this good thing. Like, we speak a lot about volleyball. We talk a lot how things works, and if something doesn't work, what to do, or blah 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 blah. Coaches need only one beer, and talking about volleyball, they could talk about volleyball for maybe hours. And I don't know if in Bulgaria it's like this, but sharing information, sharing comments, detailed experiences, and that is very important for to raise the quality of the system in Bulgarian volleyball, for sure, because different ideas especially, makes a big bang, for example, like big bang in volleyball, speaking, of course, and from there you can pick what you need for your player, for your setter, maybe for your new attack system, or okay, get back to old system because the new one doesn't work, and always dynamic situation. And you can get dynamic situation only with communication between those who knows volleyball and who talks about volleyball. Otherwise, you are just standing on the on the sofa, on the couch, and watching the volleyball, when other, for example, United States or Italy or Poland, or they improve the skills and they improve the philosophy of they change the philosophy of the games. Like, for example, lately it's changing. If you see the men's volleyball, previously it was only these super balls, like 4, 2, 6, and now the parabolas of the sets, for example, are changing. They are going back to high ball, to visoka topka, how we say, and that makes the difference, because you have to change how to approach to the technique, how to approach to the study of the approaching of the tempo, of the timing, of the technique of the setters, and all those things changes. And I mean, talking about this is only good. I don't know if I got myself right.
Yes, I'm just thinking about changing a little bit the order of the questions I have prepared, because you are talking.
Yeah, I messed up your.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Because you are talking about the philosophy, and probably here is the better the better place actually to ask you. What do you think is now the biggest change in women's volleyball in the last 10 or 15 years? Because I think in 2019 I talked in Ostrava in a volleyball seminar with Massimo Barbolini, who is now assistant of Julio Velasco in the Italian national team, and we talked also about this these questions shortly, of course, not that long, but. For you, which is the biggest change in women's volleyball in the last 10 years, let's say?
Well, I think that Daniele Santarelli proved the changements, right? With fake outside hitter, like in the Turkey national team, right?
Yeah.
They have Vargas and they have Karakurt at the same time in the court, and that worked. So their idea is that like reception doesn't count, that the quality of reception doesn't count that much if you have at least one or two players able to be efficient with high balls too. Because for sure Karakurt is not the best receiver we know, for sure. But still, Karakurt and Vargas together is a potential potential attack that helps the system or helps the team to not to focus only on the quality of the first touch inside out, so the reception, because reception are good, but you can do something, and that is going to be the philosophy, in my opinion. And in women's volleyball too, if you look now, the parabola of the setting are changing. We are going back to softer ball instead of playing super like, for example, United States national team like 3 or 4 days ago. Okay, or I remember, for example, Conegliano 3-4 days ago. I remember 2019 I playing against Conegliano when I was in Filottrano, and it was not funny for them, not for us, but it wasn't easy to stay behind them if you don't serve well. So the changemen are attack system and the service system.
Yeah, this is not linked to Levski, but do you think that Egono and Antropova can play together in Italian national team?
That's a good question. I think no, because we don't have another pure receiver unless Bossetti plays together with De Gennaro. Then it could be, but as you mentioned, Massimo Barbolini, I call them fake assistant coach because Massimo Barbolini is not we cannot call him assistant coach. It's funny, right? Yeah, and still we cannot call Lorenzo Bernardi third coach, right? So I will say the coaches there think that they are not ready to do such a thing, or I don't know if they are trying. That could be interesting to ask Massimo, but I don't think they are. But in Italy, we are different because we have two very good middles blocker in attack and block, and only one specialized in reception, because Moki De Gennaro is specialized in reception and defense. She's one of the best 3 liberos in the world. So she's basically half of the court, I call. But the other receivers, now Petrini is out, but there is still Silla. I don't know if they are able to, to be able to control one reception system with 2+1 receiver, with that kind of service that most of the national teams has in that high level volleyball.
I will try to make a transition back to Levski, but logically following the topic about women's volleyball in general, how should now coaches, including here you and your colleagues in Sofia, work in view of these trends? I mean, heavy opposite players that score a significant number of points, and rather more varied outside hitters. I mean, for example, like now Italy is playing with Egono and Bosetti and Siwa, let's say.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't want to compare Levski players to the high level players, you know, for many reasons. First, because they are physically different, because we are talking about Silla, she jumps over 1 meter. Egono, she jumps over 1 meter. And that's important to establish the velocity of the sets with the setter. Okay. We don't have those kind of players. So we have to be, in my opinion, wise and understand that we want those girls to go in that level one day, but it's not today and it's not even next year. So we have to make them improve step by step, not forgetting that skipping one step of technical skills can damage their performance when they will be in the highest level. For example, all the players I've been coaching this season, I talk about cadetti, they were able to attack high ball because this is the main in volleyball. Because I say, okay, girls, we receive 30%, 35% of efficiency. It means that 65% of the ball are negative balls, either setter by setter or libero. So we talk about Visoka Topka, and you have to be able to spike Visoka Topka in 3 or 4 directions. Then we talk about super. Then we talk about quick. Then we talk about more difficult skills. Okay, but the basics has to be done like in Italy we say like Jesus want, like correctly. Let's say so. Okay, so then we move forward to the next step. This is the main, because if I want my team to play like, for example, Conegliano, I overstress the setter, I overstress the libero, and I overstress the spikers because they don't have those abilities and they don't have those point of attack. For example, my outside hitter attacks the ball like 3 meters, 302, their maximal reach, which means when they are tired or when they are performing normally, let's say normally, they will catch the ball 280, 285. For example, okay, not more. So how can you ask them to be ready to play a super after they drop from a block movement and then to be ready, blah, 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 blah. It's not possible because they are not a Gono, simply. So before they become like a Gono, I have to teach them different things in order to, when they will be physically ready, if they will be able to do the things that a Gono does. Did I make myself clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're talking about these technical things a lot. Not only technical, of course, but which is the appropriate age of players? I think here probably it doesn't depend on boys or girls, but however, to include the tactical part of the game. Is it 13, 14, the before this U16 stage of development of players? Or
well, you know that I've been talking about a lot about that with Andrea and with Iliana Petkova, two of my colleagues, and I don't think there is an age to talk about tactical or strategy. Okay, I think when the kids or the girls are ready, okay, you can start from the basics. Okay, don't spike straight or tip when you have high block in front of you, or those are the basics of tactic. Then you add, and you add. But the main, before talking about tactic, in my opinion, we should talk about systems. And systems in volleyball are, I don't know how to translate it well in English, but are the appropriate way to make the players perform together. Okay, because for example, our women's team had a different reception system than what we use it in cadetti. Okay, because my girls in cadetki has different abilities in reception. So I cannot ask them to do the same thing because it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Or, for example, in Kadetki, I have a tall middle blocker and quite tall setter, which means different strategy than women's volleyball because they had short setter and tall middles too. So different system again. So in my opinion, instead to talk about system and what is, I have my system and I put the pieces inside my system, I prefer to say, okay, let's say what kind of abilities the girls has and what kind of system we can fix with those abilities.
And my last question is about the women's team having a new head coach. This is Radoslav Arsov. He's now vice champion of Russia with Lokomotiv Kaliningrad. Going back to to Bulgaria. And have you already discussed ideas for cooperation between the youth team and the first team, and how are you going actually to work together?
Well, I haven't spoken with him yet, actually, but of course, I like, I've been working with Peter Shopov last season quite well. When we start to know each other, we communicated a lot on what it was his needs and what it was my needs, but junior sector is made for the women sector, right? So of course we have to, to think about priorities. What the priorities goes to the women's, of course, this is normal, and we help in that way.
Yeah. Okay. Again, thank you for accepting the invitation. I think it will be a very interesting conversation, and it is a very interesting conversation about, for anyone who listened to it. And thank you again, and I would like to wish you a lot of luck and
Thank you very much.
Season.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you again, and again, thanks to all the spectators or listeners listening to this podcast, and I hope you're going to do it also the next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.